Hello, good evening, my beloveds. It is indeed a pleasure to be here with you. Even if the group is smaller, you are ones who are dedicated to reaching higher into your understanding and knowing much more of the truth of life. Our subject tonight could be called the way, the path, and the light. And I would have you to consider this and to realize that the way to the kingdom of God is within you. All on your plane are seeking the kingdom of God, though most know it not. As they go about their daily things that they do, as they reach out for many things, money, a car, a lover, whatever, in truth, my dear ones, they are reaching for the kingdom of God. Any time that anyone wants to improve their life, wants to bring themselves upward, and each of you have that desire that is deep within you, that desire to move forward, to move higher in consciousness, and it will bring you up in consciousness. For you who are on the path, the way is within. Within yourself. The way to the kingdom lies within the being that you are, in the total being that you are. And the path that you walk is not a path on the physical plane. Even though you go about your physical duties, the physical things that you do walk a path within yourself. This path, my dear ones, is made up of your thoughts, your feelings, your moods, your desires. And as you walk this path within yourself, it either lowers you in consciousness or it raises you. And as you have been taught in the classes, your thoughts make your life what it is. And the classes that you learn here, the basic classes, for the most part, the students think that the thoughts that they think, the thinking patterns, make their life what it is, and they think of it as on the physical. And so it is true. But for those who seek a higher way, let us think that your thoughts, your feelings, your moods, your attitudes are within you. They are not in the outer realm. They are within you. They come from within you, even when they are projected to the outer realm, the physical plane. You live within your consciousness. You live within the spiritual being that you are. And this being that you are, my dear ones, is all of life. Not just part of it, but all that life is, everywhere, in the whole of creation. This is the being that you are, for you are one with all life. And as you lift your thoughts to understand this and walk this inner path with the light of understanding, the divine light of understanding that gives you the greater divinity of your being to work with, then you move higher in consciousness and you move within yourself to a greater understanding, a greater insight. It is sometimes difficult to communicate these things with you in your physical language, but we do the best that we can. I would say to you that these lessons that you have been given are, some of them, much higher and greater than the lessons that were given the group who started in Oklahoma. And some that have dropped out from the class have resisted the higher truth because they hold on to their old way of thinking. And this is as it should be. For you should not be denied the higher truth, you who are seeking it. I would say this to you also, that when you come to these classes, how much do you retain and take away with you? It would be well if we had the classes in print so that you could read them. Some of you have been getting the tapes and you are listening to them. But if you had the option of having them in print and reading them and getting a greater understanding by reinforcing the power of the Word with the divine light of understanding, then I feel that you could make greater progress on this inward journey that you all seek. Your master teacher made the statement, "I am the way and the way shower." He also said, "I am the light unto the world." And then he said at another time to his followers, "Ye shall do the things that I do, and even greater." And when you use the word I, you are using the God power, the God understanding. I am is the identification with the spiritual being that you are, that is one with God. And as you learn to accept this and to understand it, it is easier for you to see that he was not holding himself up as a deity for others to worship. He was setting an example for you to also say, "I am the way and the way shower. I am the light unto the world." When you come from the God self within you and make these statements, then you are the light unto the world. The master teacher that I speak of was Christed, and through this process of being Christed, he had the realization of his divine being. My dear ones, each one of you and everyone on this planet have the Christ Spirit within you. You also are on your way to being Christed. You are on the path, the inner path that leads to that time when the inner vision within you will be opened, and you will know that you are God's. It is sometimes difficult to identify with this because in your thinking, you think with your mind that is used to analyzing and identifying with physical facts for the most part. And when you look at these lessons from the physical fact level, they do not make sense to a mind that is steeped in the illusions of the world only. So as you listen to these lessons that we bring you from these realms of love and light, I would have you to consider lifting your thoughts above and beyond the physical understanding. Use your inner image to maybe assume the role, as your teacher has said, of a divine being, and listen with the inner ear. Listen with the spiritual being that you are. Open the inner eye, the spiritual eye, to see, to understand, to hear the truth from that level. As you do this, you do understand from a much different level. When you think only of yourself as a physical being, and only what your five senses tell you is true, then the inner self of you, the greater part of you, the spiritual being that you are, suffers, for it is not fed. We come to you on these weekly visits to feed your souls, to give you the substance, the divine substance that can bring alive within you the spiritual understanding that will lift you far, far above this physical plane in consciousness. And it matters not whether you stay on the physical plane and go about your physical things that you do, but as you are lifted in understanding, spiritual understanding, then you see through the outer illusion. You see through the games that are being played on your plane. And even though you might have to play some of these games as part of your role that you have picked to learn and to grow through, you will still see through the games and the outer shell and know that you are so much more. And when you play the game, you play it with love, divine love. When you speak to another You speak with love. My dear ones, one of the greatest illusions that you have is judgment and criticism, and this leads to gossip, that leads to greater misunderstanding. Your master teacher said, "Judge not by appearance, but judge righteous judgment." When you look at just the outer world and try to make sense of it and to judge the kingdom of God by what you see in the outer world, you are confused. And it does not make sense to your physical mind. You must be able to lift your consciousness above and beyond the physical games and illusion, to see the truth, to see through the games, to see through the illusions. And how do you do this? You learn to walk the path within. And how do you do this? When the Master was walking the plane in a physical body, it was said that he often withdrew and apart from the crowds and his disciples to pray. And he did this, my dear ones, to go within and to replenish his spirit, to feed his soul by walking that inner path, that spiritual path of divine light. This will take practice. It will take time as you think of it, and it will take patience. But I would have you consider how valuable this is to your soul, the reality of your being, the spiritual self that you are. What you do on this physical plane and how you handle your physical life will determine to a degree your soul's growth. But so much more growth can be had if you withdraw from the world, often through the day, and go within and have that contact with that spiritual being that you are. Go within and turn off the world of illusion and games and listen to that higher part of yourself that is God, and let this divine being be fed. If you will take the time to do this and do it consistently, your light will be much brighter, your load will be much lighter, and your way will shine brightly even as you walk the physical plane. If you can hear these words that have been spoken to you, if you understand the value of what has been said, you will not hesitate to take the time daily to go apart from the world, to walk the inner path, and practice going within, to feel, to know, to understand your spiritual being. And after you have done this, then you will be able to bring this understanding and this spiritual light into your outer world, and it will make your outer world so much easier. The Master said, "My yoke is light," and your yoke can be light. Yoke would mean whatever you are doing in your physical plane, wearing this physical body. You can make it cumbersome, you can make it heavy and uncomfortable, or you can make it light and joyous and beautiful. To do this, you must learn to walk the inner path and to bring back into your conscious awareness on the physical plane the beauty and the joy that you receive as you walk that inner path, to let it shine forth from you, to bring it into your every thought, word, and deed, and allow the Father, that God self of you, to speak every word, to think every thought, to do everything that you do, doing it in love, divine love. For my dear ones, love is the key to all things. As you learn to first love yourself, then you can love life as you find it and where you find it, in the outer world. For then you have the inner life, which is so much more, so much greater, and it comes through, it shines through to your outer self. Love yourselves, my dear ones. Think not of the personality and the so-called mistakes that you may have made. Think not of how you were conditioned as you were growing up. Remember that if you tell someone they are stupid, they are ugly, and they are unworthy, if you tell them so many times, they will begin to believe it. But there is a part of that individual that is within that knows the truth. And some of you have been told this as you were growing up, and have been led to believe that you were unworthy, and you feel guilt at times, and you feel that life is a burden as you walk the physical path. And this is why it is so important that you learn to go within, to make that contact with the higher self of your being, the God within you, the spiritual being that you are, that contains all. Learn to know this inner self and walk the inner path until you can then let it shine through to your outer world and bring you the joy and the beauty that is within you. It is there in everyone, no matter what they are manifesting in the outer. And when you look at someone with criticism and judgment and see things that they may be doing that you consider wrong or that you consider bad, you are projecting the power of life force through your thoughts to that individual and helping to bring it out in them. Instead, my dear ones, give no attention to the outer self. Give no attention to the so-called mistakes, but look for the God within each individual. And my dear ones, whatever you look for, you will find. If you look for the ugly and for evil, you will find it. But if you look for God and love and divine light, you will find that. These are things to remember. For as you lift your consciousness above this physical world, you will realize that God is within everyone, waiting to come forth. And with the power of thought, when you look at someone and look beyond the outer frame and look through the outer illusions of the play and the games and see the spiritual being, no matter what may be manifesting in that life, look through that and see the God within them. And it will be in your consciousness. And this individual, whether they are conscious of it or not, will feel it. And if this is done enough, they will then manifest it in their outer life. Are there questions this evening? When we speak to you, we must speak from the level that you can understand. Maybe not in your outer physical self, but from your spiritual self. We could talk to you of things that are lesser than we have been. But my dear ones, it is time that we hold the light brightly so that you may see, so that you may understand. And if you go away confused about the words that are spoken and have misunderstanding, it is because that you are looking through the physical mind, the physical fact mind, and not seeing with the spiritual eye, and listening and hearing with the spiritual ear. It is time for you to lift up your consciousness. It is time for you to walk the inner path. And no matter how busy your day may seem to be, there is enough time to do all the things that are important. And you who go about your day with busyness and fail to find the time to go within, you are missing the mark. You are not hearing the message. You fail to listen with your inner ears. And you may go away disappointed, for you have not received that which has been given. And though the light of understanding that is shining brightly in this circle is shining into your souls, when your conscious awareness does not hear and you do not understand, then you fail to feed that part of you that is hungry for the truth. Some of you are going to classes and using the hypnosis and the tapes, but even this, I say to you, set aside some time to just go within and listen to your inner self, to feel the spiritual being that you are, and let the God Self come in to your conscious awareness as you go within to walk that inner path. The path is filled with light, and you need not stumble. You need only to relax and turn off the world, the physical world. And this means that you must shut off the thinking about your daily activities in the physical. It means that you must turn loose of everything outside of yourself and go within and learn to identify with the spiritual being that you are. Learn to hear the subtle knowing, maybe in words, but maybe beyond words. Learn to feel the presence of God within you. Learn to accept your divinity and learn to be that divine self that you are. I tell you, my dear ones, there is nothing more important in your life and when you end this incarnation and come back home for a rest, if you have not heard these words, if you have not learned to walk the inner spiritual path and to know the God within you, you will plan again to come again with better circumstance, with a greater knowing that you learn while you are home, and again listen. If you can learn to slow down enough to stop the world and go within, then when you do come home for a rest, then you are elated with the progress that you have made. Do not misunderstand, my dear ones. Each one of you are moving forward. But I say to you, there is much more for you to learn. The light within shines brightly. Give it the energy of your thought. As you move your thoughts within into the inner realms of your being, then your inner eye opens and your inner ear open and your other senses come alive that you do not use so much, and you are aware of the divine being that you are. When you become aware that you are divine, you will eliminate all judgment, all criticism, all guilt, and you will allow only love to speak through your mouth. You will allow only love to look through your eyes, and you will hear only God's love and God's voice speaking through all the individuals that you are around. No matter what they are saying, you will be able to go beyond that and see the divine being that they are, and know that God dwells within them, and you will have for yourself brought the kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven on earth. Would you like to ask questions or discuss things that are on your mind? Feel free to open up and make it a two-way communication.
When you talked about meditation or prayer, going within and doing away with the thoughts of the world, did you imply that it's better to have a blank mind, which is sometimes very difficult to do, or is it more effective to concentrate on, for instance, some part of deity by thinking, for instance, of the throne of God? Would it shut out the worldly thoughts quicker, easier, better? Or are we to try for the blank mind?
I would not say to try for the blank mind. Your mind would be very difficult to be a blank. For you see, life is flowing through your being, and your mind is a part of your being while you wear a physical body. And so your mind is always active. And it is much better to think of God and of God's love, and to take a thought within, like the Father and I are one, or something like this, and let it be a chant until you can move within. There are many ways of turning off the world, and the easiest way is to turn on the inner world. And you do this by thinking of the inner world and what it consists of. Does this help your understanding?
Yes, thank you.
There are times when you can just think of divine love and ask your inner self to feel divine love, to feel the Father's love for you, and use your inner image to move from your physical consciousness to the inner consciousness of spirit. There are many, many ways, and each of you are a little different, and so what appeals to one may not appeal to another. And you will find many ways that will appeal to you to turn off the physical world and light up the inner world. The light of understanding that is within you shines brightly All you need do, my dear ones, is step out of the shadow into the light. Step out of the physical world into your inner path and ask God to help you to do this. Ask your guardian angels, the teachers and the guides that are with you, to help you. And with your inner thought, lift up your hand and let someone take your hand and pull you up, for they are there to help. They are gods also, just as you are. And they have moved a little farther along the path, and they are there to help. Let them help. It is their great desire to help you, for it is they have chosen to work with those on the physical plane. And when you fail to let them help, then they have failed, in a sense. Is this understandable?
Yes.
Are there other questions this evening? I would again point out to you that some who are not able to see the truth and to understand the truth have come for one night or 2 nights to this circle and are not able to understand, and so they fall away. But I tell you, the seeds have been planted within their souls, and when the time is right for them, they will be able to hear the truth and to see the light. Send love to those who are in darkness, often through the day. Send love ahead of you on your path. Also, send love to help you to walk the inner path of divine love and light until you can allow it to shine forth from within yourself into your outer physical world. Then, my dear ones, you can say with the Master, I have overcome the world. This is what all on your plane are reaching for, whether they know it or not. You in this circle tonight know it. Would you ask questions or discuss something else?
I have a question. I am not sure how to proceed, or if I should even try and help a friend who is very despondent. When I was around her all the time, she used to seem to be doing a lot better than she is now that I don't see her very often, because our paths don't cross as much anymore. We work in different places. But I also seem, when I talk to her of the things that I know about, that to help her understand that life isn't as desperate as it seems right now for her. I don't seem to be making any inroads, and I'm not sure how I should proceed anymore. I mean, she's to the point where she is thinking about taking her life.
Yes. It is sometimes difficult to reach those who are so distraught But I tell you, when you go within,